18 girls in a small town
They're all gonna get pregnant together.
become the center of a teenage pregnancy scandal. It will shock an entire nation.
Our girls are getting pregnant at an epidemic rate.
Yes, and only the fat lady from The Practice can save us all. Quick, call the exterminator! Call somebody! It's an epidemic! Ah! Oh, please. The Pregnancy Pact. Where do I begin with this? First of all, let me tell you about the so-called true story that's supposedly behind this film. As most of you know, or probably don't know, a few years ago in Massachusetts, news reports came out that there was this pregnancy pact that like 14 or 18 girls had made to all get pregnant at the same time. And it caused a tremendous media firestorm, and a whole bunch of chattering nabobs just started going on yak, 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 about, society and where we were and how could this happen. A few months later, it turns out that the whole thing was a fraud. It didn't happen. There was no pact. There were no pregnancies. It didn't happen. So, when this movie came out on Lifetime, I thought, well, wait a minute. This story has been proven to be false. You can't have a movie come out, say, based on a true story, when you know it's not true. So my guess is this movie was in the making while that people thought this thing was real, when they thought the pregnancy pact was actually happening. So I guess when they found out it wasn't real, it's like, well, hey, we got a movie, we got to make it, so put it on there, based on a true story. Lifetime, television for women. This movie, before we get to the pregnancy content, I got to tell you about the movie itself. This film is supposed to be serious, and it would have worked better as a comedy because it's almost laughable considering how serious they're taking this and how over-the-top ridiculous the whole thing comes out as. Where do I begin? Okay, first off, take this for example. In the movie, in the background, there is like every girl is pregnant in this school. And it's ridiculous. There are not that many pregnant girls in the whole country or the earth. And this film, because there's supposed to be like an epidemic of pregnancies going around in the school, there's like every scene in the background has like a pregnant girl. And it's supposed to be serious. And it's like a comedy. It's like, this isn't real. it's way overdone. But, talk about beating someone over the head with, there's our pregnancy pact. It's an epidemic. I've never seen anything like it. And on top of that, this film would have worked better if it were a comedy, if it were satire or a spoof on this whole nonsense, because the story turned out to be such a fraud. And these girls who lied and said they were pregnant when they were not took everybody and the whole media for a ride. But no, instead, they they must be laughing considering how much commotion they've caused, and they've actually got a Lifetime TV movie out of it. Which brings me to another point. I mean, Lifetime. Oh, what can I say about Lifetime? They're known for not exactly making the best quality films. You know, I know it's not really geared towards me. It's Lifetime television for women. But at the same time, they could have done better. You know, I mean, it would have worked as a comedy, but as a serious subject, it doesn't work. Because, first of all, you know this is not true. This pregnancy pact did not happen. And second of all, this movie is filled with a bunch of self-righteous, talking down to people, stating obvious facts about birth control and all that kind of stuff. Stuff that, you know, teenagers would never have heard of course, were it not for Lifetime television for women. And the fat lady from The Practice, don't forget her. I'm not going to get into the politics of all that or anything like that. I don't want to get into that too far. It's just another example of just how ridiculous this whole movie is. Okay, but anyway, to the pregnancy content. What do we have here? Well, the scenes I'm showing you now are not really from the movie. This is actually a behind-the-scenes special that was filmed by the actresses. One of the actresses, anyway. There are no complete bare belly scenes of the main pregnant characters in this film. However, there were several in the background bare belly scenes. I think there was one at a sort of like a barbecue beach party they were having, and I think the actress was actually pregnant. If not, it was a very good job. She does not look like a teenager, of course. She looks like she's someone who in her late 20s. But that was one thing about this movie. It had a lot of pregnant characters in the background. Like now, this bare belly scene here, that's just for the behind the scenes. That's not in the film. So, which is kind of strange because they went to all the trouble to make them look really pregnant, and then they don't really show it off. I mean, a little bit there. You know, she's got a little belly showing, but not much. But at times, there are a few characters that show off a complete bare belly, but they're not the main characters, and it's only in a couple of scenes. But as I said, there's when you watch this film, there's always a pregnant character just about every time in the background, because all the girls in the school are pregnant. And I'm not kidding. This film wanted to make that point. It's an epidemic. You know, like we said in the beginning of the film, epidemic. Everybody, they're all having sex. They're all getting pregnant. That's why I say this film would have worked as a comedy, because it unintentionally comes off as a ridiculous bunch of nonsense. It's way over the top. And it would have worked as a comedy. They tried to do it serious, and it just comes off as laughable and forgettable. Having said that, the pregnancy effects look pretty realistic. No real bare belly scenes, but because there's, you know, almost always a pregnant character in the background or something, it's kind of interesting in that way. But at the same time, the movie is just silly. And it, like I said, if they had done this, like Mad TV had done this as a comedy, of course now I guess they wouldn't do it as a comedy because they got 16 and pregnant, and that's a comedy unto itself. I won't get into all that. But it would have worked as a comedy. They didn't go that way, of course. It's a straight, serious show that takes itself very seriously and then just comes off as a ridiculous bunch of goop. So, the Pregnancy Pact, it has pregnancy in it as its main theme, obviously. But there's nothing really here pregnancy content-wise that would surprise you, or any scenes that stick out as very memorable. It's just they're pregnant. Every girl in this school is pregnant, and you know that's it is what it is. Okay, so the final score for the Pregnancy Pact is 2 pregnant women. There's a pregnant character everywhere, so there's a lot of pregnancy involved in it, obviously, even though there's no scenes really very memorable, outside of a couple of scenes, and they're very brief, unfortunately. You know, but because there's a lot of pregnancy content in it, that's the only thing that really saves this from being a one pregnant woman bad review. Could have been a lot better. It would have been much better as a comedy and a satire, because as a serious movie, it does not work at all. You know, they should have gone in a different direction with this, and maybe have some actual real pregnant women, you know, older actresses coming on here and just, you know, making fun and having just a goofy time with this story that turned out to be a lie and turned out to be false. But it is what it is. It's Lifetime. So what can I say? You have to make up your own minds in the end. Well, that's all for now, everybody. See you later.